Welcome to the Play to the Whistle podcast. I'm here with your usual host, myself, Jesse. I'm here with T Dot, Kieran. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing all right still, but it's a big landmark today, isn't it? It's our first, recording in the studio for Play to the Whistle.
Yeah,
The official was supposed
official
to,
one.
the
Yeah,
unofficial, but yeah,
Yeah.
official.
Yeah.
yeah. It's good to be back. I say back. We ain't done this in ages, but yeah, it's good to be back on. Huh?
2 years.
2 years, no, more longer than that.
Oh, it was before COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got to be longer
It
than
was
that.
2019. Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, it'll be the usual format. Obviously, we'll talk about some of the games from this weekend. Obviously, the big games, the big moments. And obviously, we'll probably start with the biggest game of the weekend, Liverpool City. T Dot, what was your thoughts on the game?
you know what? It was one of the best games. It was one of them games where I don't want it to end. Mad as that sounds, I thought it was a good game, but yeah, no, I thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to be a draw. To be fair, when the game kicked off, when obviously Liverpool didn't have Trent in there and they played Milner. I said a few weeks ago that Milner's a very good player, still good, still like him, but I just think his legs, man. And we've seen that yesterday with Foden. Foden was just running rings around him. But um, I thought City was like done well first half. I thought they should have got a goal. I think that's what kind of killed them a little bit. They didn't get that goal. They should have got a goal. And Liverpool were just poor that first half. It was the poorest I think I'd seen them. They were sloppy with the ball, giving it away. But Milner, again, I'm going to pick him out because I thought he was lucky not to get a card. I think it was the Foden trip, to be fair. So he had about 3 or 4, but I think the Foden one just outside the box. But City were just like done everything right, just didn't score. And I don't know whether that was because of the way that Liverpool were just defending really well, which I don't think it was. I just think they just weren't good enough up front. And it kind of lacked that number 9 that sometimes we say that they don't need one, but sometimes I think, do they actually need a number 9? Because Aguero might have took some of them chances and topped them, but I don't know, man. But it was overall for me, it was a good game. I thought obviously second half, Liverpool came out, Klopp had obviously got into them and told them when you see him running down the touchline, you know he means business, innit?
I saw that, yeah.
Sometimes he walks, but
He's getting ready to cook there, innit?
Yeah, when you see him jogging down there, you know he means business. So when they came out second half, I knew they were going to be on stuff, and yeah, they were, man. And then obviously we got the goals, all the stuff that we wanted in the first half, we got all in the second half. But I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to talk about the whole game myself. But I do want to talk about the yellow that should have been a second yellow.
Yeah, should have been off.
Yeah, I think any other day that the ref should have been sending him off.
It's that Anfield tax.
Well, you see, Mika Richards said that. He said,
Anfield tax, bro.
Mika Richards said about the
They
fans,
get away with murder there.
literally, and yeah, Mika Richards said the same thing about the influence of the fans on the ref, and that I agree with him because I think any other day that's a second yellow. He was lucky to get the one I mentioned as well, and the one he got a yellow for was, I don't know what he's doing, but it just shows that they haven't got that depth in that position. I think Gomez can play there, can't he, as well, right? But
Yeah.
so I was surprised that he didn't potentially start. Maybe he's not fully fit. I don't know, but yeah, I'll leave it over to Jesse. What
No,
did
but
you think?
just on the Milner thing, I think because he's been playing well lately, I wouldn't have brought Gomez in because he hasn't actually played. Has he played a game this season yet, apart from the cup?
I think
Not
he
in the
did,
Prem.
but he got torn a new one at right back, and I think that's why
In the
we haven't
cup?
seen him. Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
in that game.
So I think it's just going to take him some time before he comes
Get
back
that
in the
fitness.
team. But I think because Milner's been playing well, I think Klopp probably just didn't want to take a risk on playing someone new there. But look, to be honest, he got cooked in it. But I think Foden would do that to a lot of fullbacks up and down the league. And it weren't really that surprising. We saw Foden do that in the Champions League last year, didn't we? So I do think in terms of that, that's going to happen. But yeah, echo a lot of what you said. I thought it was a really good game. City created so many chances in the first half. And also, I liked the press from them in the first half as well. Like, they stopped every single counter. Like, soon as Liverpool got the ball and they were trying to go, whoever was the nearest man, whether it was Rodri or it was Bernardo Silva, they press with the same intensity that they attack with, and they take it as serious as when they're attacking. Because some teams or some players, we all know them, man. Like, they're active when the team's got the ball. Then when the team ain't got it, they start like strolling, like they're in second gear. But yeah, they press really well. And then second half, obviously, Liverpool came out flying. and they deserved the goals, to be honest, when they did score. Obviously, it was a good layoff from Salah to Inter Mane, and he puts it away. And it's looking like the old school Mane this season, I think. But and then Salah's second goal was outrageous, to be quite honest with you. But
World class, man.
yeah, it
World-class
was
goal.
world class, and yeah, Foden's goal was brilliant as well. You see how accurate it was from the replay, because obviously it just looks like a normal strike, but when you see the replay of Foden's goal, how tucked it was in the corner, it's a great finish, man. And then obviously De Bruyne's goal at the end too. But yeah, it was end-to-end stuff, man. It's a proper game of football, man.
Didn't want it to end.
No, it's great game of football. What did you think of it, Kieran?
I agree with what you all said. I think as I was watching it, the Milner stuff, that T-Dot, I think that was just ringing in my ears the whole time. It was like, yeah, because he got shown up. But I think the goals were amazing. I think anyone who has any doubts about where Salah is in terms of being one of the best to grace the league and in an attacking sense, I think that's been said now. Not just because of that game, but you can't. I think it's been said a lot of people have overlooked the first goal because of how good the second goal was, but his run, timing of the pass, when you look at other teams that aren't up to that standard, where you think, like, we weren't sure about Liverpool for the league, but when you're looking at any team outside of Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool, don't really have players that can do that consistently. They can get into that position or they can play the ball, but they can't really do both. And that was an unbelievable assist. I felt City actually were the better team. I felt that they deserved to win personally. But it's one of those things, and I've said anyway, even from obviously Champions League final last season, City need a number 9. They want to win everything in a season. They won't win everything without that. They might win a league, they might get lucky with the Champions League, but they won't. I think they desperately need that number 9. I feel like Ronaldo would have been a much better signing for them, because that would have been, even if he's not starting every game, he comes on in a game like that or starts a game like that and comes off, they win that game personally.
I think with Ronaldo though, I don't think he fits their system.
I was about to say that.
Because I think everyone's got to be on it in their system, on and off the ball. And I'm not saying that Ronaldo would cheat off the ball, but he's never been a grafter.
He's not.
And not just now, like when he was young.
Yeah. But he'd be a good impact player. I think to be able to bring Ronaldo on, and if that's the agreement that they had, I felt like that was missing. You're in that game, it's 1-0 or 1-1 or whatever, and then you can bring Ronaldo on. Because he can play against we've seen he can play against all the other teams. It's not, you don't even need to press. But in that game, I felt that they were missing just any number 9. Even if they had Danny Ings, just anyone that, like you said, or one of you said, could tuck. So I felt like that was a shame.
But no, the only reason I'm saying that is the way Pep is as a manager. He's not going to have no one in the team that doesn't press.
Yeah.
So his issues have always been with number 9s.
Yeah.
It's because they don't have that in them.
Yeah.
They just think it's enough to score goals. So any team he's managed, I said this to you lot before, any team he's managed, whether it was Zlatan, he had Lewandowski on the bench.
Yeah.
That game where Lewandowski comes off and scores 5, he's sitting on the bench.
Mm.
Aguero, he had the same issues with him.
Mm.
So he's not going to have someone like Ronaldo in his team. So I think Kane obviously would have worked there, because I think Kane would apply himself, and he does that anyway.
Yeah.
But I never saw Ronaldo working there. It never made sense, the link, anyway. To me personally, anyway.
I feel like that's what they need. It might not be what Pep wants, but they need a 9. Like, whether it's, even if it's like a Cavani. Actually, to be fair, Cavani, based on what you said, would fit. But you know what I mean? They just need, they need someone who, whether he's going to start or not, is going to just put it in a net, stretch a team. And that was the issue. Grealish, I don't really see him as a false 10 in a big game like that against Liverpool. I just feel like his weaknesses supplement all of Liverpool's strengths. I just never really saw that working. But it did make space for Foden, and Silva was on the other wing, I think. I
thought he played well, Bernardo
Silva's
Silva.
brilliant.
He was one bit of trickery on the ball, man.
Disgusting stuff.
Yeah, like he's coming to the games a lot more. I think he didn't play as much. He was coming off the bench last season, but he's coming. Yeah. You know, he's a regular starter now for Pep, so he had a brilliant game as well. But even in Liverpool's, sort of spoke about City, but in terms of Liverpool, like you guys mentioned, Salah and Mane, but I thought Curtis Jones again had a very good game.
Excellent.
Yeah,
he's one of those players that he's definitely coming into that team now. He's cemented himself in the first team, and yeah, he's having a brilliant season. So I hope that continues. another good game as well. So have to see. They're going to be up there in the league anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully with Chelsea, but
that's
United.
But that's what I said at the start of the season. Though I did think it was going to be them, City, and yourselves going for the title, and I still think that. Apart from Milner and that situation, the rest of the squad looks like they've got decent amount of depth. They've got a lot of centre backs now. Obviously, they've got 2 left backs. I can't say his surname, but the left back that they've got, he looks really good going forward and defensively. And I think they've got, even with Elliott injured, they've got a lot of options to play midfield now. So I think for them, at the moment, everything's looking good, man. Even Mane's scoring again.
Yeah, he had that drought last season, didn't he?
Yeah. And I just think for them, they just need to maybe, some other guys need to start maybe chipping in with a few goals. Obviously, Jota scored a couple already, but when Firmino's coming off the bench, he needs to score a few more. Minamino, these guys need to maybe step up, contribute a few more, because
they're going to have to.
They're going to have to at some point.
African Cup of Nations, that's when they got to step
February?
up.
Yeah. January to February, depending on where them teams get to. I think they played each other in the final, didn't they? The last one.
Yeah.
Senegal, Egypt. Or Senegal, Algeria. I can't remember.
Was Egypt.
Was it Egypt?
I thought it was Egypt.
Yeah.
Might be wrong, but I'll have to check that. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Minamino and Jota, and again, we don't know how, assuming Harvey Elliott's out for the season, or the best part of it anyway. But they've got enough there. I still think they've got to wrap all their players in cotton wool, because they can't afford injuries. I think if that's their key thing, obviously they'll lose Mane, Salah, but then it's if they pick up another big injury, a Van Dijk gets injured or something, because I still don't think he's fully fit. I think even Klopp said he's 70% fit at the moment, so he's still coming back. But even a 70% Van Dijk is still a good centre back. Do you know what I mean? He's not like his Titus Bramble, so he's good. You know what I'm saying? So
my last point on Liverpool, I wonder, to help with Van Dijk, if Klopp would ever consider going to a back three, because that also solved the Gomez issue as well. Trent could play as a wing back, I think, same as Robertson. I think he plays there for Scotland, doesn't he? I think Scotland play with a back three.
They've done that before.
Yeah.
And I think they could do that again with the amount of centre-backs that they've got.
That's what I was thinking.
And it'll be easier for them to do that once Salah and Mane are at African Cup of Nations. Trent can do the wing back. They've got more than enough centre-backs, Matip, Konate, Gomez as well. Matip's playing really well, actually, this season so far. He's been solid, man. And then, up front, it would just be Firmino and Jota in a 3-5-2. That would work. And they will score goals. So, yeah, I could see that happening, to be quite honest with you. It's an option for them. But in terms of City, I think I was a bit surprised Ferran Torres didn't start the game. I think if they are going to play the false nine, he's the only one that I think when he plays in that role, he actually looks dangerous. Like, he can score goals. Like, he's a bit, not a poacher, but he plays like he could actually be moulded into a centre forward. So I was surprised that he didn't start that game. But Foden was devastating. So was Bernardo Silva. Rodri was cleaning everything up. Cancelo was...
we didn't talk about the block.
Cancelo.
Fabinho's block.
Yeah, quality stuff.
That looks like, I think I sent someone a picture, and that should be a goal.
Yeah.
There's no way he should be getting there. He shouldn't be getting there, but it's brilliant defending.
Amazing defending. And Cancelo, he done well at left back as well, to be quite honest with you. He done, obviously, we know he's great going forward. But overall, he had a solid game, man.
100. We move on to the other title challenges, but not Chelsea. No, I'm kidding. No,
You're on form tonight, man.
I know. I'm going to try to keep it up. It's the Midlands there. Should we talk about United? We give them a tiny bit of airtime.
Yeah, what was your thoughts on the game?
He's smiling for. He's got a big smile on his face. Deep down, he's still a United fan, man. He loves.
I think I've said to you both. For me, it's not like I can just switch it off. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't. If they win or lose, it doesn't really bother. But when you see them doing well, I don't want them to do badly. Like, I don't want them to lose.
Of course,
but I think it's funny because there's the that Twitter account, I think it's United Analytic, and he was talking. We were interacting a bit, but this idea about, I think a lot of, after seeing that game with Man City Liverpool, you can see, even if you're Ollie in, watching a game like that is just it's not easy to justify it anymore. And we talked about this before. I mean, in terms of the game, Everton were resolute. I think they knew that obviously, United had that game midweek. I think they were ready to just sit back and just wait for the opportunity, which Rafa knows all about that anyway from both sides. I think United didn't play particularly badly, but as I was watching them, it was like, how are you gonna break them down? The goal is really good. Like it's a really good goal, a nice finish, but Everton could have easily won that game. They had loads of chances. De Gea made some good saves there. I never, at any point in watching that game, thought United will eventually win this, or they're not in danger of losing this. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and talking about Everton, because I think when we talk about United games, we focus a lot on United. Everton were great. I think they've lost one game this season. They're level on points, I think, in that kind of joint third with about 3 or 4 other teams. I think Brighton up there as well, just to say. But no, but
This
I
guy,
think,
man.
I think credit to Rafa, and I think credit to you as well, Jesse, and I think even T-Dot, you talking about the signings he made, but Townsend, I know it's just the beginning of the season, it's not that many games in, but he's playing well. Like, he's got that team, Damari Gray. I wasn't too sure about him. Same with Lookman as well at Leicester. We'll obviously come on to, but he's done well. Like, he's reinvigorated that team, and don't be surprised if they're still knocking around at those sort of spaces going forward. So, yeah, I thought it was more of a reflection of maybe Everton doing well than necessarily United being that bad.
Probably a bit of both though, because I think they're both consistent. Everton have played well this season. They've played like a Rafa team. Look, Rafa's an elite manager. We've said this loads of times, isn't it? He's got a specific style of play. All the teams he's played at have played the exact same way, whether it was at Liverpool, Valencia, Newcastle. All his teams, even at Chelsea, they all play the same regardless of what players he's got available. He has a style of play that he can implement on any set of players. And that's the complete opposite to Oli. Like, you know what you're going to get from a Rafa, you know what you're going to get from a Jose, so on and so forth, Pep, Graham Potter. Like, you know what you're going to get from all of these managers of Daesh. I just think Oli just shakes the magic 8 ball. And, and whatever it says, like, play my man on the left, play him on the right, or play him in the 10.
Should McTominay start today?
Should McTominay start today? Shake it up, yeah. Put him in the 6.
Oh,
I think
that's good.
I think that's what he's doing, and
Shit, man.
it's funny because we play the same way, regardless of who's on the pitch. The only time it changes is by a moment of brilliance. That's what's winning United games or getting United points on the board, like against Everton. There's no patterns of play. I know some people are talking about like the goal. It was a great goal, but that's just good players. Good players would do that.
Yeah.
Like, they can link up like that,
Yeah.
be intricate, and things can happen. Especially Martial, he's that type of player.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not going to give that to the manager because that goal doesn't happen if Martial's not on the pitch. If that makes sense. So, but it's just the usual stuff, really. He's too slow to make change. It's all the same. It's all the same. I get bored.
The cut and paste.
Yeah, no, but it is, and I
Every
think
week.
I saw obviously on the way here today that I think 5 players are unhappy with Ollie's management and tactics and
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know who those 5 are. Could obviously make a good guess,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not good enough, man. And if you think of what that was, his 161st game as manager,
Yeah.
and man are still. People still want to give him time. Like,
How much time do you need to give him, man?
160 games.
Yeah, it's-
260.
Do you know what? 160?
I get you.
And it looks like the 15th game.
Yeah, no, there's no like plan.
No.
You don't see the vision of what he's trying to implement
No.
with the team or nothing. And
No.
is this his third season?
Third
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
Is it even, you
No.
could say,
Oh no, this is his third full.
Because did he come halfway?
he come
through?
halfway.
Oh,
so
yeah, he did, didn't
it'll
he?
be 3 years in December, but really it's
Yeah,
his
yeah,
4th
yeah.
season.
Yeah,
3.5
yeah,
for the Ollie in Colt. But
You'd expect to see a lot more from when he took the job on to now.
he spent almost, is it $500 million, I think.
Yeah.
Like you need to see
Yeah.
something that way. You see something, and
Look,
I've
it's-
praised him. I've praised him on here before, but that praise has been revoked. Like because when I watch
He's look,
the wrong manager, right team for me.
listen, like But if you look at that squad, yeah, let's be honest, and I've got to be honest, it needs a few things, yeah.
Yeah, it
but
does.
if you've been frank, the squad is good enough to win trophies, yeah.
100%.
It's a Ferrari, yeah, and he's putting diesel in that, yeah. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, like, he's not the man to drive this car.
Yeah, no.
He's not.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as
It's a
that.
shame though,
And it doesn't mean, and even the fact of, you know, when you talk to anybody else and they say, are you Ollie in or are you Ollie out or whatever?
It's not
yeah?
as simple as that.
It's not as simple as that, number one. And the fact you got to ask that question means there's problems, means that it's not right. Because no one's asking, are you pep in or pep out? Yeah. Or are you Tuchel in?
There was a couple of them last week though. We'll move on to them in a minute.
Yeah,
but I hear you though.
But you know what I mean, innit?
Yeah,
No one's saying there's no questions about Tuchel. There's no questions about these other guys.
Not big questions.
No.
There may be some questions,
Slightly
but
ones, yeah.
not big questions, you know.
But the fact that you even have to ask that question means there's something not right.
100%.
But
can I ask you, man, a quick question? Actually, this is on Everton, Decore, who because he's had a positional shift, and I wondered how he would adapt to that. But there's a player there. I was going to get. I don't know, T-Dot, have you seen much of?
So where's he playing now in the 10?
Is it like an 8?
I'd say it's more of an 8.
Because
But,
that's what he done at Watford.
yeah, but when he came to Everton, he wasn't doing that.
No, because they were
But-
trying to get him to play deeper.
Yeah. But whereas now he's getting forward a bit more. He's obviously scoring. I think he scored a couple of goals already this season. Good goals as well. But I think maybe that's the impact of Rafa as well. Maybe that's had an impact playing a bit more forward. But I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player. To touch on what you said about Townsend, or one of you said about Townsend and Damari Gray, for me, he's probably the signing of the season so far. 1.7, I think it was also like that, 1.6. And there's championship players going for more than that, or League One. And that's not a disrespect to them, but it's just for that kind of money, it was a gamble. Like, I get what you're saying about Lookman and Gray, but I think Rafa's the right manager to get the best out of him. He's getting the best out of him at the moment. But I do agree what you said, Jesse, around Ollie. I think obviously he is the guy driving the Ferrari. It's a shame because I think if you had the right manager, I think you'd be up there competing. You wouldn't even be panicking about like it's the right manager. And I think the longer he like win, like the Europa game, those kind of games keep him in his job.
Yeah,
and that's a shame because I think
young boys.
That's what I mean. But
crazy stuff.
But
sorry to cut you. One thing I'll say about Rafa though is he does this everywhere he goes. He gets the best out of players.
Yeah. Well, apart from Roundup because he was awful.
Yeah, but like in general, wherever he goes, he gets the best out of whatever he's got currently. Like he can, the same way Klopp does it, same way all these other top managers do it. He does it as well, but in his own style of play. But like what you're seeing with Townsend, what you're seeing with Gray, they had question marks over them. Like
100%.
Gray's had this is Gray's third move in 12 months. Obviously, it didn't work out in Germany for him for whatever the reasons were. And Townsend, I think the thing with Townsend was I think he just lost the hunger at Palace. I think that style of play really drained a lot of their players.
Yeah.
And I think he just lost the hunger, maybe the focus. I think that happens to a lot of players when you've been somewhere too long and you're not naturally driven. And you can't just get yourself up for it and be consistent. Some of them just need a new challenge.
And he came from, was it Newcastle, Spurs?
Yeah,
but
Newcastle.
he's played at a high level where he's going for stuff. So to play,
well, not a Newcastle, but
but just to play sort of safety first. Let's just stay up, and
it's
once
draining.
you're done, definitely.
And I think with Decore,
he's doing that at Everton. To be fair, but
with Rafa,
right,
he doesn't do the square pegs in round holes. He plays people to their best of their strengths. So like with Decore, he's doing now what he was doing at Watford. But whereas other managers look at...
Go on.
I'm not even...
No, go on.
No, he's going to say it.
They look at black players. They look at black players and think, okay, you're big, you're strong. Put him in the DM. Put him at centre-back. When really, he's an offensive player. He always has been. So Rafa...
That'd be an Ollie movement. That's what's important you said it.
So Rafa knows this though. So Rafa will play, okay, you're very good going forward. And because Rafa is very cautious in certain positions, in certain positions you have to do that. And if you can't do that, he's just not even going to play you there. So he knows the core. A bit like how he used to use Gerrard. If you remember, he played 4-2-3-1. Gerrard never played in the 2. It was always Xabi Alonso, Mascherano, and even before that, it was Sissoko. Gerrard played in the 10 and on the right, even though Certain man don't talk about that. But that's where he played, and that's what he's doing with Decore, and that's why he's getting the best out of him. Because more or less it's Alan, isn't it? And
Alan and
Tom Davis.
Tom Davis or Gomez.
Yeah.
But they're
Gomez,
they're more disciplined. Whereas Decore wants to get late runs, third runs into the box and score goals. So yeah, it suits them. And it's all clicked, and they're all working hard for each other. And they're doing well. They are dark horses for Europe, 100%. If
they keep that form up.
Yeah. But the only issue for them is their squad is like threadbare.
You see the bench on Saturday, like their bench was a lot of kids on that bench.
It's gone. It's weird. They went from having like a massively overpopulated squad to like the complete opposite.
Thin on the ground now.
Yeah. So they just need to be careful injuries wise. If any of them get injured, it'll be quite difficult for them. But they're doing well, man.
100%, man.
He's doing a good job. It's funny because some of their fans didn't want him as manager.
They still don't want him there.
Well,
I think
they need to
if they get Europe, then they can't complain,
that's
can
what
they?
I mean. It's just get over it, But he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, 100. I think any team outside of last year's top 4, you're lucky to have him.
Facts, I said that. Yeah, Arsenal and that, but yeah, he's doing a good job, man.
You just say Arsenal?
Yeah, I remember I said he should.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
If he was their manager,
yeah,
they'd be in
100%.
Yeah, they'd be in Europe.
100%. I just think
all of them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Mad.
But he's just a manager that needs to be left alone. Let him do what he wants to do. If he gets players on the cheap and he wants them, just get them.
That's what they've done.
And that's what they've done.
Yeah.
But they had to anyway because of the financial fair play stuff. But
yeah,
even so, they brought in the right cheap players.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
We talk about Chelsea.
Go for it, man. I'm ready, man.
See, it's all you teed up. Talk to us about Chelsea.
Ready for the smoke.
What's going on with
Let's
Chelsea?
take it back because I know you wanted to take it back to what game do you want to take it back to?
I just wanted to get your
last
thoughts.
8 days.
Yeah. I just wanted to...
Some sabotage thing, yeah? This is what man are. Listen, anyone listening to Play to the Whistle, man's getting sabotaged right now, but it's gone. But let me take it back to, you know what I'll take it back to? I'll go back to City. I'll take it back to City because that game was awful. Like the way that City pressed us for pretty much the whole game, we just couldn't get it out of our box. We're trying to play it out from the back. Personally, for me, I don't know if I would have switched it to the 2 up front with Werner and Lukaku in that game because they didn't get any service. They played literally on their halfway line. Nothing was happening. Playing out from the back against City when they're pressing you like that, it's only going to end in one way. And I'm surprised it took so long for City to score because we were poor that game. But I do feel like the last couple of games we've lost, and I remember I used to criticise him a lot, but Mason Mount, who brings in that creativity, a lot of creativity. Kante's kind of been in and out. He's not fully fit. I think he's had an ankle injury and then he's got COVID now. But at the time he had I think he was just coming back to fitness. So I think it was always going to be hard playing City then. It was going to be harder playing City than it would have been playing Liverpool at Anfield, even with 10 men. But City are just that team, kind of what we said before, that they can press. They don't necessarily need a number 9 in certain games like that when they play against Chelsea, the way that they played. But yeah, that was awful. Let's skip over to Juve real quick. That was awful. Bad game.
The low block killed you lot.
Yeah. It was awful, man. That was another bad game to watch. But back-to-back defeats, man. It wasn't good to take. But I think a lot of the fans as well, Chelsea fans I'm talking about, they panic a lot. I think because they've had it kind of so good under Tuchel, they forgot how to lose. And sometimes you just got to take the L's. And, we shouldn't have lost that Juventus team because they had Morata wasn't playing, Dybala wasn't playing. But Chiesa, we know what he can do. He's a baller. We watched him in the Euros, so we know what he can do anyway. But
he's causing havoc, man.
Yeah. So I kind of expected us to put up a better fight in that game, but we just didn't. But then Tuchel's, even though we haven't got a Mason Mount, we've got Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who he did start against Southampton, but for me, those are the kind of players I'll be looking at if I haven't got Mason Mount. I'll be playing a Ruben Loftus-Cheek, or I'd be putting in, obviously Sound against looks like it's not working. I don't know what's happening on the training ground or why he's not playing, but something isn't right, because even against Southampton, which I'll move on to now, but Barkley's coming on before you. You've got other players coming on before you. It's a hard league to come into when you've been playing in the Liga. And I think it didn't help the fact that, I'm going to say the Liverpool game when he got hooked off at half time. I can't remember was a Liverpool or Villa game, one of the two, and he got hooked off at half time. He's played in the cup against Villa, but it just doesn't seem like he's in Tuchel's plans, and that kind of worries me. But it's a loan, so we can just send him back after the loan. But yeah, in terms of Southampton, I was obviously expecting a better performance from us, and we got that. But yeah, I'll start with Chilwell. I was surprised to see him on the team sheet, to be fair, because I think Alonso's been in form. He's been playing really well. And then to see Chilwell come in, and he didn't start the game the best. Obviously, he gave away the penalty as well. But as the game progressed, he got into it. But I just think, for me personally, I would have kept Alonso in the team. I would have kept him there because he's doing the job. And I understand you got to tweak the squad here and there. Obviously, like who did we not have? James still injured, isn't he? So I think obviously Aspilicueta's playing there as well. Hudson-Odoi's playing there at times as well. So I know we've got to swap things around, but yeah, I expected a bit more from Southampton.
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying with the selection, because managers this week they're rotating for the sake of rotating.
Why though? Like,
you're rotating to keep them fresh for their countries.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
And Chilwell's not even going to play for England anyway.
I don't think he got selected.
So it's just what was the point?
Yeah.
But in terms of what's your thoughts on Tuchel's use of Lukaku at the moment? Because do you think he's getting the best out of him?
I'm going to say no, but I don't know why. And the reason I say this, I haven't read why, but I know Conte said that he's not getting the best out of him. But I personally, he's obviously knows him better than Tuchel, and I think for me on a personal level, I don't know whether he needs. I think he does need the two up top. I think that would work for him. I think if he had a player like maybe Werner, maybe we try that again. But I think sometimes I feel like Lukaku's very isolated up top. And if he's not getting that service, he does get frustrated. He doesn't do a Harry Kane and come into midfield. He just drifts and he's up there, and then he's just looking for the ball, and then he's not getting any service. And I think the first couple of games, yeah, it works. You kind of get that, don't you? When you're playing in a club, a new team, that honeymoon period, you score goals, but it seems to have dried off a bit now. And I don't know whether it's because he's just not getting a service, or whether it's just because of the fact that, I don't know. I can't even give him. I haven't got any excuses for him.
No,
What do you think? What do you think?
No, I think it's his starting position sometimes as well, because I think where Kane's got that ability to he can hold the ball up in it, and he can control it, and he can drop in, and he can help with the build up. That's not Lukaku's game. He just needs to be on the shoulder. But I think he's too stationary and he's too central. He's better when he kind of drifts off into the channels. So when he lets centre backs pin him on the halfway line and things like that, he can't deal with those situations.
City,
yeah,
as well, because that's where he was playing on the halfway line for literally 90 minutes.
Yeah,
as well.
whereas in them situations, he can't stay stationary. He's got to go inside left or inside right and
switch things up a little bit.
Drag the centre backs out of position, because when he drags them out of position, he takes them in them channels. No one's dealing with him, nobody. As soon as he's got it on the drive,
and stuff.
The strength as well.
Shoulder comes out, the speed and the physicality. No one can deal with him, and that's what you saw when he's at Inter. He's in them spaces. He's never picking up the ball central. He's always picking it up on the right or picking it up on the left, and he's just taking centre backs to the shops, isn't he? So I think obviously Tuchel wants a striker to go direct into, to hold it up for everyone to come at the pitch and all that, but he's not going to do that. And I think if you play to his strengths, that's where he scores the 30 goals.
Yeah.
And I think it's just things like that. His starting positions have to be different.
Yeah,
because even though he's a big man, but he doesn't play like a big man. Do you know what I mean?
No, I hear what you're saying.
So that's what I think anyway. I think movement needs to be a bit better. And I think but that's a coaching thing. He's told to do that, isn't he? So
yeah, that's what
I think it's better if he starts wider. I think it will help getting Chelsea up the pitch.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with both of you. I think it's about how he's being used. And that was the issue with Havertz last season. Havertz is a very good player, but you have to use him in a specific way that suits him. I feel like you said, when Lukaku's isolated, he's not as effective, but you get someone close to him. And you saw that with Inter, that was the whole thing. You had partnerships and that worked. Yeah, that worked really well. So it's early days. What were we, 6-7 games in, something like that?
Definitely not. Yeah, I'm not writing him off or anything. I think he still will score 20 plus.
Yeah.
But I'm saying to get to that 30 or 30 plus, I think he's got to play to his strengths and not what the team does or your philosophy. You got to get the best out of him. You got to let him do what he needs to do.
Yeah, 100. And
you can have your style of play with 10 players on the pitch or 9, and one player is kind of not doing their own thing, but doing something different for the team, then that's how I think they get the best out of him.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the difference between you got Liverpool where they've got loads of really excellent players they bought for 40 odd million, and when you start buying players for like 70, 80, 90 million, if you're buying them kind of players, you're buying
There's
them
a
because
reason.
you're gonna shape the team around them, not they're gonna fit in your
Exactly.
system.
You pay that premium because you know they're bringing something specific to the table,
Yeah,
specific set of strengths. You know exactly what they're going to give you, so you have to play to
yeah.
that, rather than what you think a manager, what you think you want that player to do.
It'd be interesting after the international break to see how some of these players come back, especially for Chelsea, because I think some of them. Well, for me as a fan, I'm glad there's an international break because I think we need that. I think something, I think something isn't clicking. Now I've said this
Yeah, it's
on my Chelsea podcast. I've said that something isn't clicking with the team, and I don't know what it is. Going back to probably the Liverpool game, Zenit, Villa twice, Juve, and Tottenham. Something isn't clicking. There's something that isn't clicking with that team.
Do you think he's rotating too much?
I don't even know if it's that. I don't know. Possibly, but I think even with the players that are coming in, something's still like maybe that is it, but there's still I don't know. There's something that just isn't working with the team, especially midfield. I think the midfield maybe it's because like I said, we haven't had Kante. Mason Mount is a big player. When he came on Saturday, he was a big player. He came on and he changed a bit of the game. I thought Loftus-Cheek played well, and I think he's going to be someone that will be pivotal in that role as well. So maybe it is the rotations, but something just isn't clicking, and I don't know what it is. And it's been like that since take away the Liverpool game because it was 10 men, but every game after that, something isn't clicking with the team. So hopefully, international break comes, everyone goes away, comes back injury free, and kick on again. I think we've got like Malmo in the Champions League, and then a couple of decent games in the Premier League. Say decent, but
We've got a good run. It's a for a team chasing the league. It's a good run of games.
saying nothing.
No, you know what I mean.
But yeah, and I think for you guys, you've already played a lot of the big games already. That's the difference.
Yeah,
I think you've already played Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, City. Like you played all your rivals pretty much except us. Whereas even like United haven't played any of those games yet. They're all coming straight after.
I think
international break.
like the November.
Like there's a run of them.
Yeah, I think someone read them out to me last
Yeah,
night.
so
It's all of them. Yeah,
it could be right and could be on the wall for him in the next 5 or 6 games. But no, there's nothing. I don't think there's nothing major to worry about with Chelsea. It's just little things like that I'm noticing. Looking at like the way he's playing, and it's reminding me of like when he's at United, and we're just trying to get him to do things that he didn't do at Everton. He didn't do at West Brom. Just get like what he was good at.
Let him do it.
Let him do that.
Yeah.
And that's how you get the best out of him. So obviously that I expect that to change. I expect him to hit 20 plus because obviously he's a top quality striker. But yeah, it's just something I noticed and what I would ask.
100. We talk about the 5th title challengers. Leicester.
Man's making all these title
joking. No, you're at the Palace Leicester game.
Yep.
Obviously sat nice seats, by the way.
Yeah, good seats.
Very good seats to be fair.
Yeah.
I think for me, in terms of the best of the rest, this is one of the best games I've watched so far this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, Palace played really well. They should have won the game, and they dominated the early parts of the game. They was creating openings, some half chances. I think they overran Leicester in midfield. And Leicester had a few early chances, but nothing really significant. And it's just one of them games, man. I think if you make mistakes in the Premier League, you get punished. And if you make them at centre back or as a goalkeeper, it's going to lead to a goal. It's as simple as that. A striker can give the ball away. Winger could put in a bad cross. A midfielder could give the ball away on the edge of the opposition's box, and the counter attack will get stopped. If you dwell on the ball at centre back, get caught on it, the strikers Leicester have are clinical.
Hyenas, man.
they pounce, they get it, they're in on goal. They are not missing, and that's all it was. Because for me personally, by that point, Leicester weren't in the game.
Yeah, 100%.
And it was against the run of play. And then you know what happens when you concede a goal like that, the team's a bit unnerved. That's when you can concede again, and that's pretty much what happened. And look, I know it was the same player, but I'm not gonna. If a player slips, I can't like slag them off for slipping.
Was it a slip though? It felt like a really bad attempt to cut the ball out.
Maybe you could say that, but
Yeah.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Say it was a slip,
Definitely.
yeah, and I'm not going to hammer him for a slip. But same
I
same
was
as
waiting for the
Vardy,
bottom, man. It was coming.
same as Vardy. Like any actual, he's not going to miss
Yeah,
there. He's going to put
100%.
that away. And they were both quiet that whole game because they had no service. When you play a 4-4-2 against a team that's playing free in midfield, regardless of the level of quality, it's always going to be difficult at points for you to get the ball to your strikers because if you're not high up the pitch, you can't get out. And that's what was happening for Leicester. I think for them, Chowdhury played really well before he came off. He was intercepting a lot. He was winning a lot of headers in the air. He was playing once he got on the ball, he's moving it really well, switching the play. Tielemans was all right as well, but they just didn't really get into the game. And even after they was 2-0 up, I still felt like Palace could get in the game. If they scored early in the second half, I thought they could come back. And yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And they came out. They were playing really well in the second half, and he made the changes that needed. Well, I was surprised with one of them. I thought Elise had to come on for Ayew because Ayew was having a mare.
Yeah.
I'll be
Shocker.
honest, and
Yeah.
I think it's something I've noticed watching a lot of their games this season is he has got a lot of endeavour, a lot of work rate, which you need, but he just doesn't have enough ability.
Quality.
And when I'm watching him, I feel like I'm watching a championship player. Like, I think he if you played in championship, he'll score 15, 20 goals. But he doesn't have enough quality for me. And I feel as though when everyone's fit, like when Elise's fit, because he's come back from a major injury, I feel like it's his for taking that position.
Do you think, quick question on Ayew, he reminds me a little bit of Ashley Barnes in that when I've seen him play, I feel like he's not going to be your like out and out goal scorer, but he's going to pressure people into making mistakes. He can pounce on things. He'll dovetail quite nicely with someone else who is going to get those goals. And I wonder, because I wouldn't ever want him on the end of something, but I do wonder a switch of formation or an alternative formation, like him and Edouard, I don't know, as a two, for example, maybe it could work as an alternative, but
Maybe, but I just don't think he's good enough.
he's not got the quality.
No, I don't think he's got enough quality, to be honest. And look, he scored some great goals like over the years for them, but he just does it too far, too much. Like gives the ball away, he misses big chances. The chance he missed against Brighton, for example, that's a ridiculous miss at 1-0. The game should have been over, and he just wastes the ball. And his positions, he don't pick up the right positions. Even when Elise comes on, he's touch tight on the touchline,
Yeah.
providing width, stretching the game. And Ayew picks up the ball, or his starting positions aren't right. But yeah, I think he came off. That was a good change. I was surprised that he brought off Gallagher because I thought Gallagher was having a good game again. But look, when you when you make two changes and they both score,
You can't say
answer,
nothing.
why?
Yeah,
Why do you take him
Yeah.
off? So yeah, obviously Elise comes on, scores, and Schlupp comes on and scores. But then Schlupp had the chance to win the game, and a better player, better quality would have scored that. So they should have really had 3 points. But it was interesting when I saw them start with a 4-4-2 with Leicester. I was quite surprised by that. I thought I don't know what the thinking was behind that, and I haven't watched any interviews with Rodgers to like see why he did that. But they got overrun in midfield, and anytime Tielemans, Chowdhury was on the ball, Gallagher, MacArthur got it straight back.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to actually like watch it live because their midfield is quite like it's a genuine 4-3-3. Like MacArthur's in the inside left channel on the free, Gallagher's in the inside right channel, and they're high up, like they press high up, and Luca just sits in front of the back four. He was excellent yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think it suits him because he doesn't have to do as much running.
Takes the pressure off.
Yeah, so he doesn't get dragged out like wide. That Gallagher and MacArthur does all that stuff. So he's just central, stationary, winning headers, restarting attacks, screening really well, and yeah, he was excellent, man. Progressing the ball forward. They played really well. Edouard was not in the races in the first half.
He's getting up to pace,
speed.
isn't it? Yeah,
I think obviously Vieira must have laid into him or a certain man at half time because he came out flying. And what I noticed with him as well was he dropped off maybe about 5 yards off he's trying to play against the centre backs, and they were trying to play it long into him, and look, Vestergaard and Sinchu, it's not happening. So
Giants.
Yeah.
I
Same,
noticed
man.
he dropped off about 5 yards, and he drops off in that area where you don't know whether the centre back should come out and get him or should the midfield deal with it. And then once he started picking up them areas and he's driving at the defence, and he beat a couple, like when he hit the crossbar, he started to get a bit of joy. So I think, yeah, they should look at it, regardless if it was less or not, they should look at that as 2 points dropped because they should have won the game.
I agree, man. I was gonna ask you, man, about Brendan Rodgers, because people say people don't. It's not my words, but people are calling him a bottle job.
It's this crazy talk.
And no, I agree with you. I don't think it's a bottle job.
Yeah.
But when those kind of games, I think you got to see them out. Personally, I know obviously a lot of things change.
Yeah. Regardless if you're not in the, whether you're in the game or not, once you go 2-0 up, you got to see it out. And yeah, I don't understand the formation really to start with. I would have maybe started Maddison in midfield. I think you need to. Maybe I don't know if he didn't take Palace serious or not, because I don't know if he would have done that against United or a Chelsea or someone like that. But I think they needed extra man in midfield. And I think when Maddison came on, he made a slight difference to the game. But yeah, look, Barnes wasn't really in the game. Lookman wasn't really in the game. The strikers weren't in the game until those chances. And yeah, they just didn't really play like Leicester, But look, they played in Europe on Thursday as well, and I know they lost. And he made quite a lot of changes from both teams. So I don't know if can't say freshness, because it was more or less a different team that played. But we've seen this when you're in the Europa League. We've seen it with United over the years, man. It's hard to play Thursday, play Sunday. Thursday, Sunday thing is rubbish to playing. But with the I rate Brendan, so I'm not gonna do the bottle job talk. And we're only 7 games in, so we'll have to see.
It's too early to be calling anyone bottle jobs or anything like that. But I kind of get, because I think, was it Tanya? Someone came on the pod.
Yeah, it was
Tanya.
It was Tanya called him a bottle job. But I think when you look at like Palace's results, they've only lost to Liverpool and Chelsea away. So it's not like it was never going to be an easy game going there anyway. Especially how they're playing now, playing out from the back.
It's got to be playing
the pressing's aggressive. Players are playing in their right positions.
It's the last thing you want after a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be difficult.
He's got them hungry as well. Like, Benteke is coming off the bench. He's pressing. Like, the squad's it's in a good place for them at the moment. But in terms of Leicester, we have to just see what happens, man. Vardy's still scoring goals.
So a couple last weekend as well, I think.
But I think that was Iheanacho's first start in 6 games in the league. I don't think he started any other games, which is a bit of a surprise. But I think maybe they need a formation switch sometimes. Maybe they need to play 3-4-3, maybe a back 3, 3-5-2, something to get the extra man central again for them.
I think it's a good point, and I think that's what the issue is personnel. He doesn't have that ready. Because I think at centre back, Fofana's out for a while, and I think Johnny Evans is injured as well. Yep. They don't have anyone else there.
No.
The issue is, I think the biggest issue he's going to have is you've got Maddison, who's just not in form at the moment, hasn't been for a while. Nacho, I think, is one of the most underrated players in the league at the moment. Like, what he can do in the right position is amazing. And then they've got almost the kind of Harry Kane conundrum with Vardy, because you don't drop him, but he's not getting younger. How do you replace that? Do you rotate him? You kind of have to play him. That kind of messes up, because if you have to play Iheanacho, who's probably one of your best players, really, and Vardy, how do you get extra man in midfield? And if you don't have the centre-backs to do that, I can see then why he's played that. But that was my issue with the wingers that he's got. Lookman going backwards isn't as good as maybe what you'd hope for in a right. Like Albrighton, for example, going back and forward, he's going to do that. And on the left side, Harvey Barnes is still young, so he's a good player, but I feel he plays better either as a wing back or somewhere where he's going to get more cover and support defenders going back. And I think that Leicester's results are as a result of that, because they just don't have the depth for a team that's playing in Europa League. And I think if they weren't in Europa League or they had players fit, they wouldn't be where they are now. And they would have seen that out. He could have changed it, brought on an extra man. So that's my thoughts on it.
Samari played well when he came on.
Yeah.
And look, so players like him, Daka, it's going to take them time to adjust. But yeah, I agree with that, to be honest. But that's why I kind of think maybe it's time to go to a back 3, especially while Evans is injured. Who's the third centre back there?
It's a Fofana. That's what I mean. Vestergaard for me isn't good enough.
You don't think so?
He's a good stopgap.
okay.
Yeah. But that's it. So
and Marty can play there as well. So I think that maybe they need to go to a back three, get extra man in midfield, play Iheanacho and Vardy up front, and maybe that's an option for them.
Yeah.
Suggested a back three for a few teams. Back three solves the problem.
Jesse Goldiano, yeah.
No, but yeah, I think. Look, it's always a hangover to play in Europe, man. It's always going to be an issue, and once everyone's back, I said this before though. I think whenever Evans is injured, this team just looks different.
Crumbles.
Yeah,
Absolutely crumbles,
because
man.
we always not us in general, but everyone always talks about say a Siontri's playing well, Fofana's playing well. Like, why are they playing well?
Because Evans is the
Really,
good
Yeah, Johnny Evans, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think it's really noticeable when he's not in the team. It's kind of not a car crash, but it's not the same.
No, it's not far off though.
Yeah, and obviously Ndidi was missing as well. He's a big difference for them too. But yeah, it's still early days. I don't want to write them off, but they'll be thereabouts with around Everton.
That famous line, innit?
No, but look, see when you got
Thereabouts.
these big boy, I think he's a big boy manager. When you got these good managers,
Brendan's a very good manager.
yeah.
man.
When you got these good managers, you're always going to be around there because they
Yeah,
make
yeah.
things happen at the right times.
100%.
Just like a Rafa, and these other guys.
Yeah,
So
it's small margins, isn't it? And
Yeah.
all of them teams you're looking at,
be tight.
Brentford, I'm going to throw Brighton in there. You got Everton.
what are you throwing Brighton into?
Huh?
What
Let me finish. Let me land. Let me land. Let me
No,
land.
no.
Jeez.
Hey,
Right.
what are you cooking?
You got Brighton,
guy,
you got
man.
Brentford, you got
Yeah.
Aston Villa, West Ham, Everton. What I'm saying is the difference between
okay,
those
yeah.
squads aren't massive.
No, it's not.
And so with the right manager and a bit of luck, you can finish a bit higher.
100%.
Not in the Champions League places. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, that's what I see.
Yeah.
What,
Like that-
what are you
that-
throwing them into?
No, that
No, but I
13th to 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
it's a
could be
tight-
anything.
It's a thin
Yeah.
margin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fine line, man.
So
Especially when you got like some of the, I don't know the name managers, but some of the managers at certain clubs are not up to it with, even though they're at big clubs. These kind of managers will
you can
obviously
sweep in.
make that
Yeah.
a tighter gap.
Easy.
But I think, I can't remember if I said it on the preview episode anyway. I do think that, I don't think to win the league is going to be 90 plus points. I think it's going to be around 90. Those 94, 95 points, I don't think it's happening this season. And I think it'll be the same with the European places. I don't think no one's going to run away with it. I think it's going to be quite tight by
Tight.
the end of the season. Maybe a couple
But I want
points.
that. I want that. I want to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that.
It's about
100%.
time.
Because you can tell by the results at the moment, the way, you know, some of Spurs' results, some of United's results.
I think all teams-
Some of Arsenal's, then they're questionable. That tells you it's going to be tight. Especially when a Villa's beating United at home or Everton's taking points at Old Trafford. Arsenal start to see. So it tells you it's going to be tight in there.
100.
So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see. I know I'm not putting Watford in there. They're obviously going to be in the relegation, but they sacked their manager.
Ranieri's in now.
Yeah.
Ranieri's in.
I think that's
It's funny
They're
though,
done.
because if you look at Watford's, how long managers last at Watford, he lasted quite long.
Yeah.
A season.
Yeah.
A season.
yeah.
That's in a
Do you know what I
season.
mean?
I think
But,
no.
they're cooked, man.
it'd be good to come on to them and the relegation battle in more detail. I
Yeah.
think next one, but yeah, obviously that's us for now on the international break. Thank you for tuning in. Do let us know your thoughts. See if you agree with us. If you've been to a game and you notice something different, about the way teams play or whatever, then yeah, come join us. The socials. What are the
Like the
socials?
PTTW podcast on Instagram and Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff.
Yeah, and please like and subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube account.
100%, man.
Yeah, cool.